Here we have a word problem that includes a lot of information right away, right? Look at how many numbers there are just in this short little sentence, paragraph, whatever you want to call it. If you get overwhelmed by stuff like that, my advice is to try to guess and check, if possible, with the question. So in this case, it's really easy to do because we have answer choices. There's only 4 possible numbers that could be the right answer. But even when we don't have a multiple choice question, when it's one of those student-produced response questions, sometimes we still can guess and check. Just pick a random number, start with that, and then you can adjust accordingly. So in this case, what I'm going to do is basically just assume that choice B is correct. So going through, what does that mean? How many 5-pound boxes are in the shipment? So that's 10 boxes that are 5 pounds each. So that's telling me multiply, right? How much do all of those 10 boxes weigh? They weigh 50 pounds. Now we also need to add in the fact that there are 13 10-pound boxes, right? So we could do multiplication there as well. 13 times 10 is 130. So that 50 plus 130 is supposed to equal 220, but that's only 180. So we're short, right? So we know that that's wrong. And this is why I started with B, because if it was right, okay, great, I'm done. But if it's wrong, now I can adjust my answer based on how wrong it was, right? This is too low of a number, so I need more boxes. I need to go to a higher number in order to get something that might be right. So now the best thing about guess and check is once you figure out what to do for one of the answer choices, you can just repeat that process. So we're going to do the same thing with C. We have 13, that's going to be times 5 because they're 5-pound boxes. 13 times 5, I believe, is 65, but we're going to check. Yep, 65. And then we still add in the same 130 pounds for the 13 10-pound boxes, and that is going to be, I don't need a calculator for that, that is 195. So still short. Now, it's probably the case that D is the answer because we need to go higher, and that's the only thing that's left. But, you know, why not take the time to just check it out? It's not that hard, and it doesn't really take much time at all, so we can be absolutely sure that we are correct. So 18 times 5 is 90, plus the 130, that thankfully is 220, proof that choice D is the answer. So you don't need to do it this way. There are other ways to solve this question that don't involve guess and check at all, but I think that one thing that happens for a lot of students, especially if you're just getting started with algebra in 8th and 9th grade, is you get overwhelmed by too much information and you just don't know where to start, right? You need to pick one of these numbers to be your starting point. Well, what guess and check allows us to do is just pick one of the answers as our starting point and then go back into the story and kind of find the piece of information that's specifically relevant to whatever that piece of information is in the choice. And remember, we're always going to be told what these numbers in the answer choices represent. How many 5-pound boxes, right? The question itself, literally the thing that ends with a question mark, will tell you what you're looking at, what those answer choices are. So you can kind of work backwards from that. Whatever way you find, just, you know, make sure that you are not getting these things wrong for careless mistakes. For a question like this, what they are sometimes hoping that you do is confuse the two different types of boxes, multiply the numbers incorrectly, so show work on your page. But regardless, basically, these are the kinds of questions that you really don't want to get wrong, even if you are confused. So what guess and check is doing is it's giving us an alternate path that we can take to make sure we get questions like this correct.